Hello and welcome to the Impact Dynamics podcast.
I'm Andy Little.
My name is Rusty.
We're two blokes to talk about PRS rifles and equipment.
And tonight we're talking about a PRS match going to WA and how much Elon Musk paid to buy this podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Let's get it. Match director, mate. Match director. Hello, Andy.
Hooray!
Hooray. Hope that's enough.
We need your vote.
Now we've caught up to where we are on the podcast.
All right, go on back.
Roll the outro. Well, good evening, Andy. How are you?
I am doing well. Yourself?
I am going well, finally, after a few days, but we'll get more into that.
We'll get there.
Josh.
Hello.
Josh, hello.
How are you?
Well, we're good, but it's your birthday.
It was my birthday.
A week ago.
Yeah.
Where's the hype button? Where's the hype
Where
button?
are all
None
the
of the
buttons?
buttons are out.
We didn't get all the buttons. Oh, well, that's right.
well.
We'll save them for next episode. There's new buttons.
Yeah.
There's new buttons.
More hype.
What were we hyping? I've forgotten. Oh, your birthday. That's right. That's right. That was a week ago. But because we were away, we got cake today. And we got the cake right here. So we're going to have
So far away.
some cake. Andy, you want some cake?
I'd love some cake.
Josh, would you like some cake?
I would love some cake
Well,
too.
that's a shame.
You've had your piece. You wait.
All right, Andy, I'm going to cut you one of these.
Do we have spoons or sporks or forks?
I mean, no.
Shove it in your mouth.
You've got hands, don't you?
Oh, this is going to be messy.
Yeah, that's the idea.
Cheers, thanks.
Righto, this is, what type of cake is this, Andy? What do you think? What does it look like?
Ooh. I don't know my cakes that well.
I guess it's not the precision cake podcast. Or it's not
No.
precision shooting contest either.
Looks like a bit of vanilla chocolate
Wait,
mix.
no, that's got to be mine.
That's
You
right.
can just have
I'm
that.
actually pretty good for cake. I did have some earlier today,
All right.
and I smashed it.
You are. All right.
All
Well,
right.
well, let's get into a happy birthday, Josh.
Happy
cake.
birthday. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. And
And that's
the
a wrap.
reason is just come on the show,
And the podcast.
cut a couple of pieces of cake, and away we go. Excellent. That's how we want it to run now. Yeah, I see your problem. I see. It's a very sticky cake. We've chosen poorly on this instance, but the reason we were away is because we were at the PRS in Mildura,
Burris Cold still open.
which Andy you didn't win.
No.
No,
Thank you.
good. Just want to clear that up. There was some confusion before on TikTok.
Yeah, I felt like I really let down all my followers.
Those 6 people are going to be disappointed with us.
I know.
Yes. Anyway, but we're going to get into PRS shortly.
Yes.
Because let's do
Because
it.
we need forks or... we're just going to do
We're
it?
just going to do it. This
this
is
is-
we're living on the edge.
Have you tried
here, mate.
eating a cake with a beard?
I have.
Okay.
All right, here we go.
Oh.
See, you got 2 strategies. You can pick the whole thing up or break pieces off. I think break pieces off is probably better.
Not for content wise.
This
But
is,
then pieces fall everywhere.
this
It's
is
much
going
more
to get
fun.
messy.
I look forward to it. All right. Next week, this time next week, Thursday night, next week, I will be in Perth. Yeah, finally.
Eating cake?
I hope so.
Cool.
If not, I'm coming home.
Where's
No.
the cake?
Where's the cake? But the reason I particularly point out Thursday night is I'm heading to Perth next week for various reasons. One of them is that I'm going to go and hang out with the Precision Steel Series crew, who are running matches over there on a regular basis, which is
Yeah.
awesome. So I'm going to go and check that out and meet a bunch of those guys.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And then on the Thursday night, we're going to do a pub night.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah, I've done a few of these around the country, and they're always good fun. And so I guess here is the – let me leave my fingers before we convince you all to come and hang out with us.
Yeah. Does the pub have cake?
Not much of a pub if it doesn't have cake, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. How many pubs have you been to that don't have cake, Josh?
I'm actually not sure.
It's probably a fair assessment, to be honest. It's not the first thing you ask. Hey, do you guys have cake? It's more how cheap are the beers? Speaking of cheap beers, we're going to the Beaufort. So
Cool.
Thursday, let's put some dates around this. Thursday, the 12th of May, the Beaufort in Highgate, WA. We will be there from, well, I think I've got there on the
You'll be
Facebook.
there.
We collectively, not you,
Yeah.
you in spirit, and the other guys from the shooting crew over there.
Yeah, cool.
We'll be there from about, I think the event's at 7, from 7. I'll probably be there a bit earlier because, got to eat at some point. And so we'll be there and just low key, just talking guns and talking rifles. And so if you are in Perth, come along. If you're not, it's probably going to be a bit of a hike. But I guess you're welcome still. And we're going to be there, and we're going to be able to connect people with the group. The guys are actually running regular matches over there to try and help, get more people shooting. So
yeah, that's it. It's just about bringing in new people and having a chat, seeing who's around, and
exactly
just connecting. And
because if you haven't heard of these guys, what they're doing, fair enough. And so we can, you be able to meet those guys and go and hang out with them, go and shoot with them.
Yep.
Or if you've got questions about PRS, precision rifle, or what Andy likes to drink, these are all questions I might be able to answer some of.
cool.
Yeah, and also what cake he likes. We really have failed this.
Cake with a fork would be great.
Okay. So that is 12th of May, 2022, I guess I should say. You're you know how to make a TikTok, don't you? That's all that's going to be.
That one to the list.
Yeah, that's all that's going to be. Let's try that again. Thursday, 12th of May, 2022, from 7 o'clock at the Beaufort in Highgate, WA. We look forward to seeing everyone there. There is details on Facebook. We can contact through the page or whatever it is. So
Cool.
look forward to it. Have you've spent some time in Perth?
I have.
Andy, have you been to the Beaufort? Do you know?
No, I don't think I have been.
Okay. Well, you were further out, weren't you?
Yeah, I was hour and a half north of Perth, mainly there for work. So I didn't have a whole lot of free time to go checking out pubs and eating cakes.
Apart from the one pub across the road that you just kept going to.
Yeah. So got pretty familiar with that pub. Went through the menu a couple of times at least. So, but I'd be super keen to head over there one day, check out the range, and have a shoot with the guys over there.
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully now that they're open, more of us can actually get.
It's not a lockdown state. Yep.
For now. So, all right. Now we've covered that off. I wanted to shout out one of our listeners, Kylie, bought us these bullets that you put in the freezer and they go cold and keep your drink cold. So thanks, Kylie, for sending them in. Yeah, brilliant. It's quite stacked in there.
I'd put some in the beer if I could, but
might not get them out.
No.
All right, smaller caliber for Andy's beers.
Yeah,
would be great. PRS. Let's get on to the Burris. Speaking of smaller calibers, funny we bring that up. What a good segue across to the Burris Cold Steel Open, which happened in Mildura on the weekend. Where should we start? Maybe Wednesday. Josh, you and I.
All the way back Wednesday.
All the way back Wednesday a week ago.
Way back when?
Way back when. Early morning, you were feeling pretty terrible.
I was almost sure that I wasn't going to make it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He was not in the best state.
But I actually woke up at 5 o'clock, not 5 o'clock, earlier than 5 o'clock, about 4:30 on Wednesday, and went, hey, I'm actually awake and kind of functioning as a person.
Nice.
Which I'm not normally on a Wednesday at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Or at 10 o'clock in the morning. Or on a Thursday night from about 8 o'clock.
I'm sleeping as we speak.
We apparently have lost connection on the iPad. My case has been proven.
Yeah, catastrophe. What's going on?
Yeah.
All right. Anyway. That was the end of your story. Okay. So
he woke up feeling all right.
I got a message from Josh saying, I'm coming. I'll be there soon.
That's good.
So he headed
feeling
up.
all right is not quite the words I used.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Able to make it. That was my limit. I made it.
Or I think it was just yes.
It was more, I'm in the car. My job is done.
So we got in the car.
Yep.
Went up to a beautiful range at SSA Mildura, which we've been many times. Enjoyed that. We had there was an adventure at lunch, but let's forget that. It's not as interesting as I remember it. Anyway, it's just food-related adventures. Nothing. I mean, speaking of cake, yeah, you've destroyed yours. You've done well.
I don't talk much on this podcast.
Makes for some podcast content. Yeah.
All right, so we got up there. We started setting up all the targets and did all those sort of things, and then Wednesday night. Did we do anything Wednesday night? We went to the pub, didn't we?
Yeah, didn't we do that every night?
Oh yeah, we did. Yeah,
but yes, we went to the pub. It was good.
Nice.
Oh no, that's right. We did have a challenge. Country towns and pubs closing at kitchens and pubs closing at 8 o'clock.
At about 8 o'clock,
Yeah,
we had to go to Big W. We then had to go to Bunnings. And then, we went to Bunnings and we're like, can we get this piece of 6 metre timber chopped in half so we can actually fit it in the van?
No.
Oh, no, none of us are authorised to do that.
Oh,
Okay. And at this point, I remembered I had a battery drop saw.
I was going to say, you're like, you sell battery tools? Yeah, can I just like try out this battery tool? Thinking
I
of
need to
buying
test it.
Yeah. In the car park. So we were like, 8:00 at night in the car park with the drop saw, cutting this down to fit in the van. We made it work.
Nice,
It's accomplished. I think there's video of that.
Yes, there definitely is video of that.
Good. And then we started. I looked at the clock. I'm like, this could be a bit sketchy. It was about 8:15. So Josh is ringing all these pubs. Like, is your kitchen open? Is your kitchen open? Oh no, just closed. Then we get to one place. And they're like, oh, yeah, no, its kitchen's open till like 9:00. We're like, we're on our way. We're there at 5. So we went there and it was the Gateway.
Nice.
The Gateway in Mildura. And food was good.
Reasonably good.
Order the food. No, it was good. Beyond reasonably good. It was good. And order the food. Food was good, appropriately priced, all that sort of gear. I've gone up to the bar. You guys all know we're gin drinkers. Mm-hmm. We said, oh, what gins have you got? Gordon's or Sapphire, and yeah,
Your heart sank.
But just
Yeah.
I considered leaving. We hadn't got the food yet. Anyway, we went with the lesser of two evils.
Mm-hmm. Which is?
I'm going to let the listeners decide that one.
Oh, okay.
And
Water.
and regretted it for the rest of the night, to be honest.
No.
Yeah, so we had one drink. The food was good.
Yep.
And they were lovely staff.
Yep.
They were lovely staff. So if you're not a gin drinker, highly recommend. If you are,
Don't go there.
don't go there. So,
Or
You got
take your own gin.
yeah, even better. Good solution.
Suggest some gins to them.
Yeah, be like, hey, do you guys want a gin?
Yeah.
Anyway, so we went there. That was good. We haven't got to the match yet. That was only Wednesday.
That was only Wednesday.
Thursday we set up. People started arriving Thursday night.
Yep.
That's when did you get there?
Friday at about 1:00.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So, yeah, unlike many other PRS matches, we weren't there at 5 a.m. on Friday, still setting up. We were probably in front of the game.
Pretty well sorted.
Yeah. Yeah, felt pretty good actually.
And then the numbers started dropping. The people with COVID starting sending message saying, I just checked myself before I came and I've tested positive. And, and then someone's, like 4 people, work was too busy or all sorts of
I looked at the weather, it was a bit of rain. Yeah.
I heard Andy Little was going. I'm out. Yeah. That was most of them.
They should have turned up then.
I just didn't want to be around you. It wasn't your shooting performance.
I nearly took a bus back when you rocked up.
Oh dear.
Anyway, so we had Olstack pull out, unfortunately. And also a number of ROs, or stage officers, helpers, unfortunately pull out as well. A couple with COVID, a couple just couldn't make it for whatever reason. So I was thinking it's going to be a bit of a challenging match.
Yeah. Getting a bit short on supplies and will help. And
Having said that, we had some great helpers. The guys who did rock up were excellent people.
Yeah, they were.
And so a massive shout out to them. So anyway, we then find ourselves Saturday morning doing the brief, giving the details and getting underway. And how you shot it? How did it play out from there for you on the Saturday morning? Let's stick with that because there's more to the story later.
Well, let's
jump to Sunday. How did you go?
Let's take it back to Friday. I think.
Boom. I'm just going to move this cake.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we could even, if you really want to, we could even jump back to the week after Monado.
Oh,
because
have you got like a time rewind sound? I know you don't because I know what's on there.
It's me. Come on.
Yeah.
There we go. We have one now.
Yeah, and you do that again.
Cool. So, as we all know, Monado was having issues with my barrel, bullets exploding, issues.
Allegedly. This is what you were suspected.
We got video proof. So, after Monado, I stripped my barrel completely. I was like, right, we're starting from scratch, redo load development.
I feel bad. I've already told the Bunnings story and now we're way back. Anyway, sorry, Karen.
Well, actually, we did sort of cover this not last week.
Yeah,
the
we
before.
did. We did
briefly.
Yeah,
so I did a little bit of
not doing very well.
So I did load development again, essentially on the barrel after it'd been fully cleaned out. That took about 100 rounds, just doing velocity and then groups and playing with the tuner. And I found a load that worked reasonably well. I dropped it about 100 feet per second. I was like, just in case, run a bit slower, get a bit more barrel life. So Friday at the match, I was like, cool, let's just confirm 0, confirm some data. It was sitting at about 0.5 to 0.7 of an inch. And I was like, that's all right. I can use that. That will work for the match. And Saturday morning started off pretty well. Had the first stage shakes. Everyone has the.
Oh yeah. What stage did you start on in the morning?
What did I start on? Jeez.
I was going to bring up some details of some stages. Did you start on?
I have a match book.
Snakes and Ladders. You have an actual match book.
I do.
Oh wow. Okay.
You get the actual match book.
It was in the middle of the range. It was the one in the middle of the range.
With who was your first RO? Do you remember? Andy? Oh, there you go.
Might have been. It was the one after.
Josh has the match book with his name on it.
It was
I
after,
always lose the one with my name
after
on
the
it.
skill stage.
By the first morning.
I reckon it was the one with the rope.
Oh yeah, the Snakes and Ladders.
Snakes and Ladders. I reckon I started there.
Okay.
Went all right. Started smashing some targets. Had the first stage shakes, but was making
Shakes and Ladders. Did you rename the
shakes
stage?
and ladders.
Okay. Right, cool.
But yeah, sort of got past that, worked through it. I was getting impacts. I was like, can't expect too much more. I'm hitting targets. I'm doing all right. As we went through the day, there was a stage with small targets. This is closer to, what was that?
Minesweeper.
Minesweeper, the don't shoot targets.
Yeah.
And the shoot targets were reasonably small.
They were.
And I remember having the same hold on these targets, and sometimes it would hit.
You're prone as well, so you're stable.
They were, yeah. These were prone
Unless
shots.
you shot them differently.
Oh, was that
I
not
just
off the
decided
tripod?
to do that kneeling.
Yeah, freehand. No, so these were prone. You're in a steady position. You did have a bit of time, so you weren't like rushing shots. And these targets, I mean, the first 3 shots were at 200 meters and 261, so they're not incredibly difficult.
Yeah.
And some of my rounds were hitting, and just some weren't. And I ended up with 4 on that stage. I remember that one. And I was thinking,
4 out of 9.
4 out of 9.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, that's weird because I'm using the same point of hold for all these targets. Obviously held a little bit more wind as I went out, but it was very low wind.
Yeah.
And some were hitting and some weren't. So I thought, this just doesn't feel right. I was expecting you're prone, you're solid, you got time. You should be cleaning this or dropping 1. So I think it was at that point I was like, gee, something's a bit off here.
Yeah. Blame the gun. Quick, blame the gun.
It's the gun's problem.
Yeah.
So, I think I spoke to you and I said, I just need to know. I was thinking something was wrong there, but that's all right. I'll keep pushing on.
Yep.
The next stage.
We
went right to the left-hand side of the range.
Yep.
And we shot the long-range TYL snooker.
Yep.
And I went into that going.
So this had a rack of targets at 350 meters.
Yes.
And then a IPSC target at 500. And you basically had to alternate from the IPSC to one of the circle ones, and then IPSC, and then the next one in line, and the next one. And if you dropped them on the IPSC, you could keep going, keep shooting. If you dropped one on the KYL, that was the end of your stage.
Yeah. So it was good. It was a bit of a further range out to 500, bigger targets. So I thought, all right, well, this one was also prone. So I thought, okay, leave the last stage behind me. Only hit 4.
Yep.
Whatever. Let's get on to this one. And I think it was a few shots in, and the guys, I heard in my earmuffs, that bullet exploded. And I'm like, oh no, not again.
Yeah, after you'd done everything to sort of avoid that happening and fix the gun,
slowed it down, cleaned it right out. All the carbon was removed. I borrowed your bore scope.
Oh, yeah.
And all that carbon was gone. I'd pretty much gone back to a bare barrel, which was very well shot out after I'd put the bore scope down it. But I just thought, damn it, they're blowing up again. And I think it was Maxwell at the time. He was RO, and he said he could see it at 100 meters, just a cloud.
Yeah.
And so at that point, I pulled off the muzzle brake because I thought maybe it's clipping the brake on the way out. Maybe there's just massive carbon build-up.
Was this Saturday or was this Sunday?
Oh, yeah, this was Sunday.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I thought you shot Saturday and went through the whole day.
I went, that's right. I did shoot all of Saturday.
Yep.
And I was sitting at 15th.
Yeah.
At that point. Yeah.
No,
So
16th.
16th.
16th, because I gave the Saturday night, we sort of do the
Top
current,
15 and I wasn't
current
there.
status, and I announced the top 15 and I saw your name just under it,
Yeah.
which is why I chose 15. I'm like, I'll keep Andy out of this.
Stuff him he doesn't need to know. So, yeah, it was a little bit disheartening.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. It was a different day.
Yeah, because I remember because that's when Maxwell brought up that you exploded at basically 100 meters. You were hitting stuff downrange.
Yeah.
And he sort of flagged it as a safety issue,
Yeah,
which, to be fair enough, given that the work you'd done to sort of, I was aware of the work you'd done to fix the gun.
Yeah.
You know, we had a discussion and I basically asked you to retire the gun because.
Well, if you got blowing up projectiles, you're going to end up with lead and copper just flying around.
And at that point, I know you're taking some efforts to do things, and I think we had a couple of things for you to attend to as potentially, we're like striking on the muzzle brake or anything along those lines.
Yep.
And then you've come back up to me and said, like, I've checked all of that. There's no signs of anything. I need to, I'm going to retire the gun, which is so in a PRS Australia match, you can retire a gun and then move to another one.
Yep.
You can't swap back and forth or between guns.
Yeah, you have a long range setup and a short range setup.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have one gun for the match.
Yep.
But then if you need to put that away permanently for the match because of, and it has to be for a reason. There has to be not just like, this one's the wrong color now.
Yeah.
Exactly right. These ones match these banners better. That's you're able to do that. So then you retired it and went to your backup gun, which was 223. You weren't actually the first one to retire a gun that weekend.
No. I heard another bloke had some issues. Was it feeding or extracting or something?
I don't remember now, actually.
Not sure. I think he was in my squad too. Sorry about that.
Well, he talked to me about it. I don't remember exactly the reason, but yeah.
So that was end of Saturday. Yeah, I was sitting at 16th and I was like, oh, that's disappointing. I thought I would have hit more. At that point, I didn't know what was going on. I mean, I had the inkling that my accuracy was off because I didn't hit those smaller targets.
Yep.
Well, I wasn't hitting many targets. At that point I hadn't cleaned a stage, but I hadn't had any zeros.
Yep.
4 was my lowest. But
so you were still hitting targets, but perhaps lower than you would normally.
Yeah.
Be. You're sort of counting your misses. This time you were counting your hits.
Yeah. And I mean, there were definitely shots that I know that I pulled and I stuffed up.
Of course.
But there were definitely a lot where I was like, I was expecting that.
Everything felt good about that one.
Yeah. So moving into Sunday, TYL snooker, there was the long range stage.
That's the wrong day. It
was
must
it?
have been the wrong stage.
No, wrong
It
stage.
must have been the
other one, the holdover.
No, I think you were.
It was the
on
one before down on the farm.
The 5 targets 60 seconds,
5 targets,
which is
60
after
seconds.
down to the farm. Down to the farm was the first.
There we go. 5 targets, 60 seconds.
Yep.
So it was still at 500, 550. Yeah, it was like a troop line.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
So I think it was a few rounds into that, and Max, the stage officer, he said, "Oh, I saw bullets explode," and I heard a couple of guys go, "Oh, yeah, that bullets are exploding." And yeah, like you said, at that point, I retired the gun. I took off the muzzle brake, sort of checked some basic stuff, and thought, luckily I brought my 223. I'll just put that aside and run the 223. But as I went to pull out the 223, I was like, that doesn't have a scope on it.
Because you had lent your scope to another competitor
That's it.
to use on their gun,
Yep.
who didn't end up using their scope
No.
on their gun because I gave them a scope to use for a video.
Just to throw things all around the place.
Yeah.
Because Josh was following your brother-in-law around with a camera who
That's
was
right.
running the Zeiss that we played
Yes.
on this podcast with
Yep.
to make a video about that being used in a match.
Yeah.
And he got a good upgrade from what he originally had a
Vortex.
Zero Tech on there.
Oh,
Which
yes.
I think was a second focal plane that he had won somewhere. That then you put your PST off your 223 onto his gun to then be replaced by the Zeiss, all within like 15 minutes of each other.
Yeah.
So
Let's just say I did a lot of bore sighting and sighting in that weekend.
but
it was good.
But you got the PST back on the 223.
No,
you didn't.
No, I put my
You
Carles.
put your Carles. That's
Put the
right.
Carles on there. So here I am on the line, and the guys are all standing around me going, "What's this guy doing? He doesn't even have a scope mounted." So pulled out the 223. I took my weights off my comp rifle, put that on the MDT chassis, the scope off, put that on the 223, ran over to the 100-meter range, bore-sighted, zeroed, did a quick velocity check, and I'm just running 55 grain factory.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this will do.
Yeah.
That's all I've got. And then I ran back over and they're like, oh, you're up on the next shooter. Oh, okay. What? So that process, I think, all took, I don't know, about 40 minutes.
Yep.
And then luckily a few of the guys were ready to shoot. So I slotted in just after them.
Very nice of them. Yep.
And then I only dropped 1 point on that next stage.
Yeah, right. Which stage was that? Do you remember?
It was the farm one.
It was the farm one. Okay.
Yeah. And it was funny because when I told a few of the blokes that I was swapping to my 223 running factory 55s, they were like, that's a stupid decision. Why are you doing that? You're not going to hit anything.
Yeah, but at least your bullets will hold together.
That's it. And then then I only dropped one on the next stage and I was like stoked.
Yeah, but so the next stage, that down in the farm one, let's go through a stage because it's that was quite a. That was
a fun stage.
I did not see this stage run. Was it shooting out of the car or the farm one?
It was the farm one.
It was the farm one.
And so I did a few with the 223.
Yeah. So down in the farm, this one here, 100 seconds, 10 round counts. There was you could have a bag, a tripod, and a bipod. There was a rabbit at 200 meters, a fox, sort of a sideways fox at 280, and then a fox sitting upright at 362. Start port arms, magazine in. At the sound of the beep, the shooter will move on to one of the 3 shooting positions and engage the rabbit target with 3 shots. Josh.
Yes.
You built this barricade. That was something we failed to mention. You built all the barricades for the weekend.
I did.
Well done.
Work.
I didn't hear any complaints about them, so that's a win.
I had feedback on the barricades to share with you.
Mm.
They were very good.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Was what I had been told by multiple shooters.
They were solid.
I'll take that.
Sell the cameras. You're into building things.
Yeah.
Cool.
Chippy.
I'll
Part-time
see you
chippy.
later.
All right. See ya.
Right. Can you build us a new podcast desk? One that's less wobbly.
Get one that doesn't kick your shins.
Anyway, sorry. So can you explain this barricade?
This one was the one with the raw piece of timber going across.
As in a tree.
Oh, yeah.
A tree branch.
A
raw piece of timber. Opposed to a cooked piece of timber. Or burnt.
Never get him to build a barricade.
That's why I'm not a carpenter.
So in other words, just a piece of timber.
I'm just here to pick up my raw timber. Thanks.
Would you mean a tree?
Oh, geez.
So
Okay.
this is the one that had the pipe on it, yeah?
Yes, correct.
Yes.
Sounds like Andy's been on the pipe before he shot this one.
What am I talking about?
Can you tell the barricade? We're partway through the brief at the moment. We've really interrupted this. I hope this is not how you give stage briefs. Anyway, you built the barricade for this stage. There are 3 shooting positions.
Yeah.
I thought you might tell people what the shooting positions were and what you made them out of.
Well, super prepared. I would have had photos, wouldn't I?
No.
Yeah, it was.
But maybe, because this podcast gets edited afterwards, you could put a photo of the barricade up on the screen right now that people are currently looking at. And then they'll be like, why did he say I couldn't put photos up?
I'm just going to look like it. Well, I was going to say look like an idiot, but that's just normal anyway. So moving on.
Anyway, back to the barricade with the raw cooked toast tree.
Yes. So it was a beam going across. Essentially everything is built between, you got 2 solid platforms left and right because of the baffles and things. Had a beam going across. I think one of the shooting positions was from a pipe. There was just a pipe with some clamp thingies that held it down. There was one of the braces that braced the side was a shooting position. So it was about, I don't know, that big.
Wasn't very wide.
Wasn't very wide at all. And then, just a big piece of raw timber that went...
Otherwise known as a tree branch.
It's a thing.
Yeah.
Thing.
That went from probably halfway up the barricade and then sloped down to touch the ground.
Yeah, it was like on a 45.
Yeah.
And then
about a 45.
Sort of had painted to like 2 notches on there that you had to be within.
Yeah, you had to be within.
Then, it was the notch on the sort of the support was like, sometimes you get like a little edge on a post or a fence post or a little sort of bit on a tree that sticks out and it's not enough to rest on, but you sort of have to make it work.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So we got through that eventually.
I do have a question about that stage though, just quickly.
Well, let me finish the brief and then we can
Let's get through the brief.
Let's get through the 15-minute brief. So you move to one of the 3 shooting positions that we have elaborately talked about and engage the rabbit target with 3 shots. Then you change to one of the remaining positions and engage the walking fox with 4 shots, and then move to the last position, engage the sitting fox with 3 shots. Barricade, the thing you're resting on, must be the shooter's primary rest and be shot from the nominated position. Andy, do you remember where on the 3 options you shot the rabbit from?
So yeah,
the closest target?
Closest target, first position was the small notch you were talking about.
Yep. Was that the hardest position of the 3?
It wasn't actually too bad.
Okay. No, so reasonably solid?
Yeah. So a lot of people use...
It was a piece of 2x4 on its
side. Yeah. So you had a round piece of timber, vertical, and then screwed to that was a 2x4.
Yeah.
So a lot of people use their medium or a game changer bag, wrapped it sort of around the post, and then sat their rifle on that. But you still had to hold the front of your rifle, otherwise it would fall off.
It would go. Yeah. Okay.
So some people use tripod rears and things.
Yeah. So is that's where you shot the rabbit from?
That's where I started.
And then where did you move to the 280 meter shot?
I went straight to the 45-degree timber.
The raw
timber.
The raw timber.
Yeah. Okay, good.
Because they were at the same sort of height, so both were kneeling, just moved straight over.
Okay, and then so the last one you were shooting off what was meant to be like the gate sort of post.
And that was just a standing position.
Okay. Yeah. You had a question, Josh.
I did. With that raw piece of timber. Going with it now.
Just lean into it.
Did most people shoot it from that nice little sort of natural flat bit it had before it dipped down?
Someone might have painted a slight mark below that nice little flat piece of, so you had to shoot it on the 45.
I was going to say, I don't remember seeing a little flat bit.
No, because Josh had told me that there was like this nice little flat area to be able to shoot from. I'm like, perfect. So I'll put the marks to shoot between, just underneath that and just above the base, so you couldn't sort of get support from other areas of it.
No, it was good. Because it was a raw piece of timber, it still had some bark on there. And and your sort of schmedium game changer bag would wrap around and grip onto it pretty well.
Yep.
I was going to say, next time if you want to piss off shooters, make it like a smooth PVC pipe. Bags will just...
Slide. Yeah. Okay.
Noted.
Yep.
All right. Duly noted. Okay, cool. There's one of the stage down the farm. Went well for you. You dropped one. Which one did you miss?
I think it might have been a standing shot on the furthest target.
Yep.
Yeah. But that was with the 2-2-3 and drop one shot.
But the one that I was most impressed about for you for a couple of reasons. So full credit for this course of fire, except one stage I did, right? Full credit to the to Ben Jarrett for this this course of fire. So this is a course of fire he had written for the 2020 match.
Yeah.
And then got there in 2021 and set it up.
Yep.
And then had to bail quickly. And then could not make it to the 2022 version of the match. And so a few little tweaks, a few little changes, spent some time with Butters on it. And by the accounts I've heard, credit to Ben, this has been a very good course of fire.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
he did extremely well. One of the stages that was completely untouched by myself or Butters, just as was called Know Your Wind Limits. And this was a stage at 600 meters.
Yep.
And you had a square target. Let's say it would be about, what's that size?
12 inch?
12 inches of raw timber. Yep. 12
steel,
inch.
raw steel.
Raw steel. Yep. Painted. And so, it's like a 12-inch square. And then you would have the same height, but the width of the plates would come down. There was 5 targets. And so the last target was relatively narrow. So this is where you had to know your wind fairly well. Your elevation could be off reasonably easily because you had a lot of vertical, but not a lot of wind to play with by that last target. That last target's probably about
100 mil?
About 100 mil wide. Yeah. We're ballparking there, but that's we're gonna.
It's all right. I'm an electrician.
So that's day to day then, normal. And so this was a 600 meters. You only had 60 seconds. There was 2 shots on each one.
Yep.
And I had a lot of feedback that this stage was really good. This is one of those stages that was in the match to start separating out shooters.
Definitely.
And that, by the looks of the results, it definitely worked.
Yep.
Andy, you shot this with a 2-3. How did it, with factory ammo, how did it go?
Reasonably well. I surprised myself, and the guys behind me were like, well done.
Do you remember what your score was?
7.
7.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. That's pretty good.
Yeah. So I looked at the Kestrel and I did a bit of like estimation of the wind.
Yep.
Like what you do. But yeah, firstly, I really enjoyed that stage. It is one of those ones that tests.
It's raw fundamentals, isn't it? It's
That's
just
it.
there's nothing complicated, fancy about it.
Yep. It's wind reading.
Targetry is the factor here.
Yep.
And that gets affected by the wind. You have to be.
That's it.
You have to do everything right.
Mm-hmm.
Your first target relatively easy.
Yep.
But it really starts getting quite tough by the end of it.
Oh, definitely. And it's a few of the guys did get caught out because that wind was sort of like at the 2 o'clock angle.
Yep.
Sometimes it would pick up and the guys were hitting targets. I remember one guy missed off a left edge, and I think this is on the fourth target, missed off left edge. He corrected, and I saw the mirage just start to go vertical.
Yep.
So wind dropped off, and then he missed off right edge.
Oh, no.
And you're just like, that's so unlucky. Like,
Oh,
yeah,
dear.
it's a challenging stage where you got to be watching how the targets react. Try and watch your own trace. Watch mirage.
Yep.
Yeah, but I ended up on 7,
Yeah,
which
right.
was I surprised myself. My first, what was I saying? I was guesstimating the wind.
Mm-hmm.
I had at a 2 o'clock sort of angle. I put down 2 mile an hour, and that was saying I needed about a 0.5, 0.6 wind hold.
With
and
your
then
2-3.
Yep.
Yeah, fair enough.
And then I was
With your
like,
55 grainers.
yeah. And then I think it was about 5.3 mils of elevation.
Yep.
And then I was like, oh, okay, what if it gusts up to about a 4 or 5 mile an hour? And then it was like 1.2. So I was like, 0.5 to 1.2.
Yeah, you've got a lot to cover there.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So I remember starting the first target with my 1 mil hold on the left edge. It was a
Yes.
right to left wind. So I had that 0.4 to 1 mil.
Yep.
The first round missed off left edge, corrected, held that 1 mil in the center of target, impacted, followed up again, impacted. Then my, what was that, 1, 2, 3, fourth shot went low, and I was able to pick that up, and I was like, that's weird. Why did that drop really low? I ended up holding another 0.2 up, hit that a couple of times, and just sort of worked my way through, really trying to pay attention to how that plate swung when it swung. When it swung. Swung.
I've seen a few pieces of raw timber swang.
Yeah. So I'm still learning English. But yeah, the plates don't swing much when you're with a 55 grainer.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe I caught a break in the wind, but
Yep.
it was still tricky. Yeah, it was good fun.
I think we had another guy shooting a 2-3 who ended up with a reshoot on that particular stage because
Yes.
he hit, but it was very difficult to see, and a couple of guys called it that it wasn't hit.
Yep.
So he then started changing around whether that sort of thing, and then they determined afterwards he had actually hit, but of course because he had the data saying he hadn't hit, he changed his game plan and changed everything. Anyway, he got another. I don't actually know how he went on his reshoot.
I was there scoring and
for his
spotting.
reshoot, yeah.
Yeah.
How'd he go?
One, unfortunately.
Oh,
no.
that's rough.
Yeah.
Oh.
I think he did say on his first shot he got 2. So
Yeah, he did.
frustrating.
Yeah.
But that's the game.
That's
Well,
the
speaking
case.
of courses of fire,
Oh yes.
we have a comment from Ben B. He
Yep.
asked, do you guys ever publish the match center of fire after the match?
They are all available to the members in the members area on the website.
Yep.
Yes. So it is all there and available to PRS
Precision
members.
Rifle Series.
Great.
Yep.
That's right. So speaking of course of fire, there's one stage I was very happy with.
Yep.
And this is again a stage that Ben had designed, but again, our mate over here used a few pieces of less than raw timber to build a barricade for. And this is the peppered pig stage.
Oh,
do you remember this stage?
Yeah.
Okay.
Remember
so
that one.
This this has a big pig downrange at 300 meters.
It's a big pig.
It's a big target. It's a real big target. It's way bigger than it should be. But it was perfect. It was perfect. And so shooters start port arms, magazine, in-bolt pack, all this sort of gear. As the sound of the beep, they move forward and engage the pig target with 1 round from each of the nominated positions. Now, there was 8 positions, 3 standing, 3 kneeling, 2 prone. They cannot engage the target from the same position a second time until they've already shot every other position. No position may be used more than twice. So effectively, you've got to build 8 positions. And if you follow me, you build your 8 positions. When you get to your last position, the smart person will shoot 2 from that last position because they've
Yep.
already built it. So 2 from there. And then you've got 3 other positions to go back and choose.
Yep.
And so this was purely so Mildura, for those who haven't been there or shot there before, everything shot under these baffles. So you've got these sort of these timber bits that you sort of very much limits where you can take your shots from.
Yep.
So built into those baffles are these sort of portholes or these holes that you have to shoot from. This is 12 rounds. This is a 90-second stage.
Yep.
So you have to be hooting
Yep.
along. Now, your target you don't have to worry about too much because it's a big damn target.
Yes.
Less precision rifle, more practical rifle though, because you have to be building positions super quick and get that shot off to be able to do it. This is the type of stage that I really liked because one person cleaned it.
Oh, really?
Dave Taylor, your mate.
Yep.
Well, our mate, but you shoot Carlos together,
Well,
so that's what I'm.
He lives interstate now. There's a bit of
Okay, right.
bit of a
but
thing there.
he shoots Carlos with
Yeah,
you, so that's
that's
why
it.
I sort of called him your mate. Anyway, so he cleaned it,
Yeah.
and he was the only one.
Yep.
And what I love about that is that it was possible, but you could not miss a beat.
Yeah.
And I spoke to a couple of the guys who got 11 on this stage, and they said, "Yeah, I could have got 12, but this."
Yeah.
And it was just they sort of, I think one of the guys sort of almost double fed around, like went to close up in the same position,
Yep.
and then realized what he'd done and opened up, and that momentary pause was what stopped him from getting the last shot off. One of the lads, single Aaron,
Yes.
managed to get 9
Oh, wow.
and still had a 30-second hang fire in the time frame in 90
What?
seconds. So in 60 seconds he got, and this is not straight because the 30 seconds was somewhere in between.
Yeah.
In 60 seconds he got 9 hits and would have had 30 seconds to shoot another 3 rounds. So he would have, should have, could have, but
Jeez.
realistically
Yeah.
would have got those additional 3.
I spoke to him after and he said it was just every single time he put the rifle down, it was just on point, shut the bolt, bang. He said it just, everything lined up to just, it was on target
Yeah,
no matter
right.
where he went and just shut, bang.
Yeah.
It was,
Solid.
it was not a difficult target to hit.
Mm.
It was a difficult speed to run at.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and what I do also enjoy about a stage like that, and it's certainly this is not how every stage should be.
Yeah.
But it's good to have 1 or 2 like this where new shooters can use this as as a confidence because they're going to score some points.
Yep.
But they're this is the type of stage that speed is going to be a benefit. How did you go on this stage, Andy? I don't.
Yeah,
know this one.
I got 11 on this one, but
Oh, you were one of the 11s?
Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
It was you and Acker, wasn't it? You and
too
Dave
sure.
Acker. Okay, I thought only 2 people got it. So yeah, I must have spoken to you. How did this go?
Yes, yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was a watching other people do it. It was a toss up between, okay, do I run a heavy schmedium and have a solid platform?
Yep.
But take the extra time to move the schmedium.
Yep.
Because it's just another bag you got to grab.
Yep.
Or do I run a bag that's attached to the bottom of my rifle?
Yep.
But it's a lightweight bag filled with like a light fill, so it's not as stable.
What'd you do?
I went with the bag attached.
Yeah.
Because it's
Big target.
it's a big target. And I thought, okay, I could probably deal with a little bit of wobble on the target.
Yep.
But yeah, I ended up just closing that bolt and then beep. I was like, so close.
Just
So close.
Yeah, just on it.
So, yeah, I mean, that worked really well.
Yep.
But yeah, I was talking to Dave and he ran it in a very different order.
Yeah, so I was going to
a lot of
ask you
people.
about your order.
Yeah.
So tell me your order because I know the way most people ran this.
Okay.
So there was 3, remind everyone, there was 3 sort of holes at the top.
Yep.
3 in the middle, which is a comfortable kneeling position.
Yep.
And then 2 prone.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I went across the top row standing,
Yep.
across the middle kneeling.
Yep.
Then I went prone Hawkins with my fist under the bag to get the height.
Yep.
And then just repeated that 8th, 9th shot.
Yes. Yep.
And then I took my last ones kneeling.
Kneeling. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. So how that is pretty much how I saw everyone do it. They went standing for 3, kneeling for 3, down, and they would take they'd either take prone, double prone, back to prone, and then come up to kneeling, or they would do the double prone and say double prone is they'd shoot that 8th shot and then they could repeat the 9th shot wherever they were. They didn't have to move and then go up to kneeling and do the 3 because it was quicker. It was quicker to move between 3 kneeling positions than it was to move between two prone positions.
That's it. Yeah.
So what did Dave do?
So I believe talking to him, he went prone first. So
Yep.
did the 2 prone. Then I believe he went across the top, 3 standing.
Yep.
Then I think he went 3 kneeling,
Yes.
double tap a kneeling one.
Yep.
And then I vaguely remember him saying, I think he went standing again because he could
1, 2,
just
3.
move quickly standing.
Yes. Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he ran the Schmedium. And
Okay. You did that.
yeah,
Yeah, right.
well done.
I don't know what Dave Taylor did. I don't know what strategy he employed. So, Josh, you're getting along in your shooting game a little bit. How would you built that barricade? How would you have attacked that stage?
I feel like I would have just gone sort of the linear fashion from
Yep.
sort of up top, middle, down the bottom, and then probably back up to the top again.
Okay.
Oh, no, actually probably kneeling.
Yeah.
Kneeling.
Sort of that, just a little one step up.
Yep.
Okay.
Probably how I would have done it.
Yeah.
I think I'm not very good at kneeling. That's one of my weak points. I mean,
Yep.
one of many, but I think I would have started prone because, I like prone is the most comfortable shot, but this is not a target you have to be comfortable on. And so I would have gone prone, gone kneeling, then standing and repeated mostly on standing and then probably drop down kneeling or something like that. But yeah, so watching the guys get into prone, it took the longest time to build in the prone position.
Yeah, well, like speaking to Dave, I did ask him, how did you do it in the prone?
Yeah.
And he did it really smart. He said he grabbed his Schmedium, put it pretty much where the timber post was, like in line with that center timber post, and then I think he went Hawkins off one bag and then left the bag in position and just went straight into the other side of the post. And I was like, that's
amazing
efficient.
how many people went in the middle of each port. It's a really common thing you see. And back when we were good enough at this stuff to train people, you guys would come up to a barricade and go right in the middle of the timber or raw timber, or depending on the state of it.
Yep.
And you're like, why are you not on one of the edges? Because the uprights have got more stability. Why are you not on that? They'd look at it and go, don't know. Just that general sense. And I saw that the whole time.
Yep.
Not everyone, I'm sure, but for the Pepper Pig stage, most people were right in the middle of that port where it would have made sense on the left-hand port to be to the right. In the center, okay, you could be in the center if you want to, but you could be, I mean, Josh made the barricade pretty strong, so it was pretty stable either way, but you could be either side and then flicking around just to the side of it.
Yep.
Whereas guys spent the time to get all the way to the middle every single time.
Yeah, for myself, I ran up against the right-hand side of each window so I could push my little bag and stuff.
Because if there's a consistency to that makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's just so close to time. But it's good. It's challenging.
Yeah, no, so I was so happy with that stage. And as I said, you wouldn't want a match filled with those stages.
No,
but to have
that's
one or two in there as a even one, just one is for really about a speed thing, but obviously that translates to points.
Because I guess like throughout the match you're looking at trying to test different skills. And the skill of building a position quickly and repeatable is definitely a skill. Getting on target quickly and sending off around.
100%.
Yeah. Yeah, I found with my little bag attached, it did take me a little longer to get settled on target. Yep. So I'd be keen to run that again with the Schmedium and see how it goes.
See how it would go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, shame you can't.
No, I'll just have to build my own barricade then.
Build your own damn barricade.
That's it.
Yeah.
Next rimfire match.
I was just going to have a look at we got the scores on a few of these.
Yeah.
While you do that, we've had a comment from Jason Scott. And I think he must be watching another podcast and commenting on ours because he said, geez, you guys are handsome. I'm having trouble concentrating.
Cool.
I'm sure he's watching another podcast.
Jason is watching our podcast, Josh. He hasn't seen your camera. That's what it is, isn't it, Andy? That's right.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, no, I take it back. There was 4 people who got 11. So I did speak to 2 people who got 11. And there's
I think I'm there.
There's a good swag of guys who got 10. We've probably got about 10 guys who got 10. And then your 9s, 8s, 7s, 6s, 5. No one scored less than 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is kind of good.
That's
you
good.
get about a 50 or just under 50% as your minimum.
Yeah.
There's enough time in there. But then your pointy end, there was that 12 was on offer. But
that's it.
Only one person claimed it.
That's it.
Anyway.
And those points really really do cost you. I know the skill stage too, the standard barricade. I ran that slow because I remember thinking to myself, points are worth more than time.
Yep.
Hit every target, and I still drop one. It's like, damn it.
Oh, very good. Very good.
But I'm blaming my rifle accuracy on that one. So,
Andy, is there any other stages you want to spring to mind that you're like, I'd like to talk about that one, or you?
The quad bike one.
Oh yes, the snap shooter. Okay.
Is that snap shooter?
We'll make this the last one we talk about.
Because that one was sort of like a quick one as well, with the same big target.
This is the exact same target, and this was you can do the brief. Why not?
All right.
Why not?
Oh, here it is. Yeah, so shooter starts in buggy. So this is seated with our hands are holding on to one of the baffles in front of us.
Yep.
And the rifle is placed in front of us, just sitting there.
When you say that, your rifle is
on a 45.
He's on a 40 or thereabouts. Yeah, so
resting on the baffle.
Barrel is resting on the baffle, and the butt is resting next to you. Yep.
So it's starting in the buggy, rifle in rack. Well, resting against the. Yep.
Would you not be if you were in a little buggy, having the gun sort of there across there, you could grab that out. That's not
where it would
far
be.
off where it would be. If you didn't have it centered, of course, we can't put it across the range.
That's it. Yeah,
that would not go down well.
No. Starting position. You're DQ.
Straight out.
Yeah, that's it. So magazine in, bolt back. Shooter can choose left or right seat. So I think everyone just jumped on the one. On the sound of the beep, shooter will move the rifle from the rack and engage the target with 3 rounds in 12 seconds. The shooter gets 10 seconds to reset their rifle, bolt back, and the shooter repeats this 2 more times. So it's 3 rounds in 12 seconds.
Yep.
You're going from holding the handlebars to picking up your rifle and hitting this target 3 times. Yep. Looking at it, we were like, this should be easy. It's a big target.
Funny you mention this.
Yeah.
Funny you mention this. So let's wind it back for a second. The reason it says shooter should start in buggy is because Ben has a buggy. Oh. Ben was going to bring the buggy.
Yeah.
You guys were going to shoot
like
from
a
the
four-wheeler?
Buggy. Like a four-wheeler buggy. Yeah.
Sick.
Hence the reason you could choose from which seat you wanted to shoot from.
Right.
I don't own a buggy.
No.
Josh doesn't own a buggy.
No.
Wish.
We didn't have a buggy.
No buggy.
No buggy. So it was meant to be a buggy. It was legit meant to be a buggy and would have been cooler if it was.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Can't afford a buggy.
Forgive you.
So we made one. So we were wandering around the night before at Bunnings going, how do we make a buggy?
Yeah.
We're like, And then we were walking, we're like, okay, well, if we can mimic handles, people will get the idea.
Yep.
And they don't actually have to be any decent because you're not shooting from the handle. You're shooting from in between the handles. So we're like, let's put a little piece of raw timber. No, not raw timber. Actual
rare timber.
Treated timber.
Toasted timber.
Treated
timber in the middle. So that's a really super solid rest. Like there's no issue with that.
Yep.
But then we'll somehow attach some pieces of handle to the side. So we got pipe insulation, hot water pipe insulation.
Yes.
And then put that over timber dowel.
Mm.
And
this was the barricade that you constructed.
I got one that didn't break.
They were pretty flimsy handles. Come on.
Yeah, the handles were not designed to be shot off. No. I didn't realize you were going to start with your hands on the handle. And then there was just like hose clamps holding those on.
Yeah, yep.
And then lots of screws holding it together. Then we put it together. We're like, so you turned her up. And then we're like, you know what? It's easier to have something to sit on than to be like, hey, sit there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like if we didn't put somewhere for people to sit, they would have just like hovered or been around.
Yep.
So we bought these like little, those little like beach chairs where they give you a little bit. They give a bloke like me no support. They give a bloke like Josh a little bit of support, but they're just sort of holding your lower back precariously.
Yep.
And so we bought a couple of those, but they were nicely padded.
Yeah.
So at least put your bum down on the ground.
It was much appreciated.
But then we can also say your bum has to be on the ground. You have to be touching this seat thing. So we bought 2 of those because we figured we know what people like and they might get caught and snagged on a gun and get ripped and then so we bought it. We bought it back up. Yeah, bought it back up.
Nice. Yeah,
anyway,
it worked well.
So that was the barricade. And I didn't realize you started with your hands on it, but that's a really good way of doing it.
Yeah. We started sitting with our hands holding it. And
did you make noises? Did you?
No. Well, it was funny because during the stage brief,
it wasn't that funny if you weren't making noises.
Well, this would have been good.
Okay, here we go.
Should have been bonus points if you made noises.
Yeah, if it was adopted.
Yep.
I mentioned to the stage officer, I was like, you know what we should do? On the sound of the beep, you're holding the handlebars. On the sound of the beep, Shooter's got to yell out, pig.
I remember walking past and hearing that actually.
Yeah. I was like, that would have been awesome. Pig.
Yeah. Or instead of the beep from the time, you should have just yelled out pig to start with.
It.
That would have been good. Good call. Good suggestion. I like it. Better than your raw timber joke.
Yeah.
So anyway, sorry, back to, we were talking about a stage, weren't we?
Yeah.
Three lots of 12. So you said you guys walking up to it thought this would be easy.
Yeah.
So
well, as in like it's quick.
yeah.
But 12 seconds, big target. Like should be all right.
So Andy McNeil was the stage officer on that stage and shoots a team AI. Very good shooter. And we were talking in the morning, we're like, yeah, there's some potential for this to be a little bit too easy for people to get.
Mm-hmm.
So we changed it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he ran 2 or 3 shooters through it.
Yes.
And then changed it back.
Yep.
And gave them an opportunity to reshoot if they wanted to.
Mm.
Changed it back to exactly how it was written, which, to be fair, that's how Butters and I had tweaked it. And Butters had run a similar stage and said, no, this will be fine. By all accounts, it probably was actually fine.
Yeah.
So credit to Butters for he got that one right. And credit to all we changed was you're going to start from standing position to then run to your buggy, get the gun, and then shoot.
Yep.
That was the only change. But yeah, it turned out we didn't change that, and I haven't looked at the scores yet, but it seemed like it was all right.
We have a comment on this stage
All right.
from Nathan Anderson.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
He says there was a guy that got a squib load at the start of his run, and then after that cleared all the targets with only a small amount of seconds remaining. He said it was absolutely awesome to watch.
Mm.
On this stage.
Yep.
Sounds like it.
Don't
So
think
squib
that-
loads or just a hang fire?
Yeah,
Like maybe
that, that doesn't make sense on this because these are 12 seconds, and if you got a 30-second, you can't have cleared.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have been able to take any shots.
Maybe
during
that first lot might have been a dud, and then he followed up with 2 more 12
We'll
seconds.
see. If he comments again, I'll mention it.
Yeah, just clarify which
Clarify
stage
that
that was.
statement.
Yeah.
But-
Anyway, that's all right.
But it was good. I think I dropped maybe what was that out of 9?
It was out of 9.
I think I dropped
and
maybe 4 or 5.
We had 6 people clean it.
Yeah.
So not a out of 53 shooters, not a ridiculous amount. So it wasn't completely easy. And then we had 3 on 8 and then a bunch on 7. So good. So and what I love about a stage like this, so you effectively you repeat that process 3 times. So you do your thing. And what I love seeing, particularly with those sort of middle of the road and newer shooters, is the first one, they might get a shot off. Maybe sometimes they don't get a shot off, right? It's almost to the point where if you get the shot off, you're going to get the hit. The challenge is getting the shot. And then the second run through, they might get the one comfortable, or they get 2. And then by the third one, they're on it. They've got 3, or they just close up on the third one, or something along those lines.
Yeah, they're sort of getting quicker and quicker. Yeah,
exactly right. Yeah. So these stages are they're not uncommon.
Yeah.
And they're a good challenge. They're a good challenge to make sure you're quick, but you also have to be accurate. This one was a big target, and it can be easily argued that had we brought that target down to maybe 3/4 or 2/3 or something along those lines, those 9s that were 6 guys or so shooting 9s, that might have been 2 guys or 3 guys.
Yeah.
Perhaps that was the tweak, just to ace it back a little bit, so you had to really work for that one. So anyway,
that was good.
Good. All right. Well, that was the PRS in Mildura.
Yeah.
That
was
was
2 or 3 stages of it.
That was a handful of stages of it. A big shout out to Ash Porner, who has
Well done.
laid the gauntlet down this year.
Yeah.
He has won back-to-back PRS matches,
Very impressive.
which is you can, and you watch him shoot, and he's right in the pocket.
That's it.
A little story about Ash
All right.
that is embarrassing for me, but anyway, shows you how good my memory is sometimes. So on Saturday night, I got up and we talked about it. I read out the top 15 shooters out of 53. And here's where everyone is. And then you hand the iPad around and people look at where they are and all that sort of thing. And I sat down, back to dinner, back to the meal, and the meals had come out by this point. And I'm looking over, and about maybe three people down on the other side of the table, Ash was there. I'm like, I hope Ash is all right, because I don't remember reading his name out. Oh, not in the top 15. Like you, Ash, don't think I've seen him outside the top 15. He's a good shooter, and even on an average day, he's still doing really well. Yeah. So I've looked over. I'm like, I'll make sure I just say good day to him. Maybe something's happened. Maybe he's got some gun issues. I'm not sure.
Yep.
All right. the next day, didn't get an opportunity to see him, and I just checked in with him. How you doing, mate? Yeah, all good. I'm like, oh, okay. Actually, the next morning, I'm like, so perhaps not as good as you were hoping. And he's like, oh yeah, no, I'm doing all right. It's just ticking along. That's what Ash does.
What he does? Just
I'm
walks?
I'm like, okay, well, he's taken that really well. All right,
Yeah,
cool. But, that's Ash is just cruisy.
Yep.
And then at the awards, he won.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, great. I said to him afterwards, I'm like, man, that was a killer recovery. How did you pull that off? You must have been dominating today. And he looked at me very quizzically. And he goes, oh, yeah, I did, just performed well, I guess. And, just did my thing.
Mm.
I'm like, I stopped him. I'm like, all right, this is now starting to be weird. Where did you finish last night on the Saturday night? And he's like, I was second. I'm like, oh my gosh. I do not have a memory of reading his name out in second position to the point where I looked at him like, oh man, like not
What's
even
happened?
top 15. What's going on, Ash? Like I hope.
Yeah.
So my entire demeanor for Ash was like thinking that
poor bloke. He's having
that
such
poor
a tough time.
Man, what a terrible match for
And
him.
here I am, sitting 16th, and I get nothing.
And then anyway, I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry, mate. He's like, he just started laughing at me. I'm like, that's about all we can do.
Yeah.
No, he was second. He was never in trouble.
He was never
Down.
stressing. He doesn't stress.
Oh, that was my Whoops. Should have paid more attention to the things I read out. I was hungry, all right? I was just waiting for the food.
Definitely.
Yeah.
It was good food. It was good food.
There we go. I'm prompted. Has our friend come back about
It was Nathan who RO'd for us.
Okay.
Yeah. He said, it was the hang fire with the windows.
Oh, yeah.
That would have been Aaron's run.
Yeah, that would have been Aaron's. So he didn't quite clean it. It was three shots short, but
just shy.
Yes, he was very impressive to see him do that. Absolutely, Nathan, and good to have you along, Nathan, for helping out. He'd not shot a match before, and he drove all the way up from Werribee and said, "Hey, I'm here to help out." So that was great meeting him. So we will no doubt see him. I think he's going to get involved in Eagle Park.
He has just commented saying he will definitely be going to the Little River Comp later in July.
So the question now is, will he be shooting it or will he be helping stage officer again? We will stay tuned. And on that note, we
do have one last question relating to PRS.
He was going to be like
ruin the vibe.
All right.
Well, actually, we have two. I'll get two in. Bog Dust for Breakfast on YouTube has said they love the videos. Wish they had more comps in Victoria, which probably leads into the next one from...
Which is funny because there's the most comps in Victoria out of anywhere.
There's Conservative Sniper Hunter has asked how many Centrefire PRS matches are scheduled for this year?
There was let me get that out. The Ignition, you're right. I don't want
I'm counting with you.
Okay, good. The Ignition Custom Monado Meltdown, the Burris Cold Steel Open, the Gunsport Winter Classic, the Carles King of the Hill, which is in New South Wales, the what is coming up next? The Delta Tactical Steel Apocalypse, the Night Force Heatstroke Open, and the Vortex Precision Rifle Series 2022 finale.
There you go.
So that is 7.
Yep.
And there is still potentially one, just working through all the things you have to work through to make one official. Still potentially one more somewhere else. So sit tight, stay tuned. There hopefully will be another announcement coming probably late this month, mid-June. Probably by the time the next match rolls around, there should be another announcement or at least some more details on the website. So there is the answer to that one. There is currently 7 scheduled for the year. There's celebratory noise. Yeah. There is 7 scheduled for the year.
Yep.
Fingers crossed we can get another one in there.
Yeah, sweet as.
Anyway, I think we answered the questions.
There was one more from Dirty Fox after that, and he asked, is there any in Queensland? But you sort of covered that one.
Unfortunately, not this year. Unfortunately, the Rangers that we've used, the Ranger we've used previously in Queensland is not able to run precision rifle matches at present, which is extremely sad. I know that there is work being done in Queensland to rectify things. So as soon as there's a range that we can be involved with, we look forward to getting back up to Queensland and getting involved.
Yeah, definitely.
And some other states as well.
Yeah.
Anyway, the big question is, will Nathan shoot or RO? And on that note, we are out of here. See you, Andy. See you, Josh.
See you later.